along. You're listening to UCY.TV.
Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower class and social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they bomb. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one lives countries. Lie to your face, fight and die, cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower class and social side, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. See their shit, force a bear. Fuck them back, that's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one lives countries. Lie to your face, fight and die, cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again. Yeah.
Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ron Stevens. This is Game On right here on UCY.TV. It is the 19th of May, the long weekend here in Canada-stan. And it's sunny, cool, sunny but cool, and no chemtrails. We've hardly been chemtrailed at all in the last 2 weeks, which is kind of weird because, like, for about the last, as long as I can remember, 8-10 years, we've been chemtrailed almost daily, so this is very nice. The trees are coming out, the flowers are coming out, or a lot of them are out, and the pear tree's all in bloom, and the apple tree, and everything else, so it's all well and good. Just need a little bit warmer weather. Anyways, up here in Canada, we had a hockey game in the Ontario legislature, no, not in the Ontario legislature, in the federal legislature up in Ottawa. We had a bit of a hockey game in the House. And so Justin Trudeau, for some reason or another, thinks he's a goaltender and thought he would, was it the goaltender, referee, whatever, and thought he'd break up some stuff there in the House, which you can't do. They have a Speaker of the House. They got a Sergeant at Arms in the House. You're kind of supposed to sit in your chair and pay attention and follow the rules, but our buddy is, I call him the PM Uppet. I call him a puppet or a muppet. But it's just more of the same garbage. He's a feminist. That might explain his aggravation and his irritation of what was going on and caused him to jump out of his seat and run to the other side of the house and start raising a bit of shit over there. And he's an idiot. His daddy was an idiot. But more importantly, we're the real idiots because we've been putting up with this crap forever. You got the opposition say this is no way to operate in the House. We represent the Canadians. Well, that's true. They do represent Canadians, only Canadians think when they're talking about Canadians, they're talking about the people. Well, the Parliament of Canada in no way, shape, or form represents the people. They represent the corporate fiction that they made up. So they don't represent the people, and the people better get that through their thick heads as fast as they possibly can. Canada, like the United States, like Australia, like Britain, and everywhere else, they're all corporations. And the elected, the so-called elected, represent the corporation. They do not, cannot, and never have represented the people. So, on one side of this story, it's rather funny. On the other side of the story, it's rather sad because people think that this is something that shouldn't go on in the House that represents Canadians. Well, and then turn around and believe that they are Canadians, okay? Canadians are fictional entities. You are people. You are men and women, okay? So they don't represent you. And all they are is employees of the Queen. Who's the head of state? Who has the Pope up their asses? And it goes all the way down from Popeville to your local level. So anyways, big brouhaha, not really, but it's making big news here. So Trudeau is trying to change the way this so-called government operates, and there's a big push to get the assisted suicide through with little or no debate because, well, there's too many people on the planet. What's interesting about the eugenics movement is what's being pushed everywhere now is that, I think I said this on Tuesday night, that I ran into the Red Deer Advocate, and in that, the eugenics movement started there in the 1800s and run all the way through to 1972 before it was put to bed. It wasn't put to bed, it just got rebranded. Okay, and out come the vaccines, out come the GMOs, out come the fluoride. So the eugenics movement didn't go away anywhere, it just got rebranded. And they want to pump it up. The corporation doesn't want to spend money on health care, and the corporation doesn't want to spend any money on pensions, because once you retire, if you live that long, which is getting more difficult all the time, you've become a liability to the corporation. Corporation doesn't like liabilities. What do you do with liability? You cut it loose. So what is the assisted suicide about, and the GMOs and the fluorides and the vaccines? It's about cutting liabilities, okay? And that's all they're up to. So while this little brouhaha, or whatever you want to call it, raised some eyeballs, and it's got everybody freaked out. Oh my God, what has he done? Anyways, he apologized Thursday. Little Pierre, Justin. Trudeau apologized Thursday for manhandling the Conservative official opposition whip to hurry along a vote, and for inadvertently elbowing aside a female NDP MP. It is not my role, and it should not have happened, says Trudeau. In particular, I should not have made physical contact with the member, and I apologize to the member and all parliamentarians for my inappropriate contact, said Trudeau. He said he regretted his actions profoundly and apologized to the Conservative whip Gordon Brown, to NDP MP Ruth Ellen Brusseau, to the Commons, the Speaker, and to Canadians. Not to the people, to Canadians, to the fictional people. Because the House is fictional, the government is fictional, the corporation is fictional. It's a play. That's why they call him the PM Uppet now. Because he is a puppet and he is a Muppet. And it's no different than watching the Muppets on TV, where the guys... They ought to have the balconies in the House there so the old guys can sit up there in the balconies and shoot insults down to the floor, because that's where the entertainment is, and that's all these other people are, entertainers. Every single one in that house is a freaking out-and-out liar. And we ought to just go get a rope and put an end to this nonsense. Let's see. The apology came after a scathing rebuke of his behavior by official opposition leader Rona Ambrose, who said Trudeau has treated the opposition with contempt for weeks and not with the respect MPs owe each other. Why would they owe each other any respect? Because they're all on the same team. Every single politician in this country and every other country takes an oath. To who? The people? No. To the corporation. To the state. That's who they work for. So to apologize to Canadians is to apologize to those little fictional people. Because this is all fictional play. It's art. It's theater. These people in no way represent you, nor can they represent you. If the oath is to the state, which is the corporation, then how in the hell could they possibly represent you? They can't. So I look at this as a good thing because now I get to explain to people again what the hell's going on here. It's a fraud. It's a breach of trust. And a breach of trust is what? Treason. And what did they used to do with these treasonous dogs? They go find a chunk of rope. Now, I'm not advocating you go get a piece of rope and hang up little Justin. I think they're doing a pretty good job of that themselves. We, the people, on the other hand, just have to come to the conclusion that these people do not represent us. They have no authority to represent us, and we have no authority to do what they tell us to do. Okay? We're real, they're fictional. Why are we allowing ourselves to have our lives run by a bunch of fictional idiots? And the worst part of it is, you Canadians, or Americans, or Australians, or Brits, or wherever else you want to pick it from, when they created your fictional citizenship, they made you surety for the debt of the corporation. What a great scam. So you're out there busting your ass. They're cutting deals with their friends in other corporations to give the other corporations the benefit of our resources, crank us deeply into debt, fictional debt, of course, but then turn around and remove our labor from our pockets because we're surety for the debt. How stupid can we possibly be? I mean, take Nestle, who's bottling our water, or anybody else who's bottling water anywhere else. This corporation goes to the government and cuts a deal with them. Plain and simple. That's all it is. It's two corporate bodies cutting a deal. The corporate body, known as the government, has control of all the resources. So the corporations go to that corporation and say, you know, we got an idea. Now all we got to do is scare the people into the fact that the water may not be safe. Then what we need to do is I remember way back when I used to golf, when this first started, they had the H1N1 flu, which was a complete blowout, a complete thing concocted at the United Nations and fed down through our minions here. And all of a sudden, the water coolers that have been on the golf course since golfing started are being removed. Why are they being removed? Well, it's not safe. Somebody could put something in it, or somebody could have a virus or something, and everybody gets sick and die. And therefore, for safety reasons, they always do it for safety reasons, we have to remove this. Well, this is all part of the deal they cut with the corporations going to bottle the water and sell you the water. Now, you didn't pay for the water in the water cans out in the golf course. But now you don't have any water in the golf course. The only option to get the water is to go buy a bottle of water at the clubhouse. That's your water. Why are you buying your water? Because the corporation cut a deal with the corporation. Simple as that. Using our resources, restricting our use of our resources, which are free to us because we own them, because we live here, and then turning around and charging us for our own resources. That's a scam. And that's what your government is, a complete and total scam. There's no other way around it. There's no other way to describe it. We've been scammed. Anyways, I'll carry on with this for a bit. Everything he did from the moment he rose from his seat was unnecessary, and it was was unsettling. It flies in the face of any of the promises the Prime Minister made about decorum in the House. It was nothing less than an affront to every member of the House. Ambrose said the opposition has felt the sting of Trudeau's contempt in recent weeks, whether it is the eye rolls or the mocking of some of her members or the sticking out of the tongue or what happened last night. It's unbecoming. We started this parliament with a promise of sunny ways. What we've seen in the last few weeks is the furthest thing from that, she said. Ambrose said Trudeau needs to take a step back, reflect, and fix this. She especially called on Trudeau to drop a prerogative government motion, she said seeks to silence the opposition. That call was backed by the NDP. Trudeau said he was looking to make amends. He heard the call from Ambrose and others to improve the ways we engage as a government. As a criminal body is what he needs to say, as an international crime syndicate. Okay? That's what it is. Your government is part of an international crime syndicate. Make no mistake about it. But Trudeau did not immediately agree to withdraw the government's bid to seize control of the parliamentary agenda to push through more quickly its bills before the end of the parliamentary session in late June. I regretted deeply. I made a mistake. I am apologizing. I'm asking for members to understand how contrite and how regretful I am for my behavior. Asked by the Liberal MP whether there was a justification for what he did, Trudeau was object. I refuse to allow anyone to think that there was any justification for my behavior yesterday evening. It was on me. It was my mistake. It was unbecoming of any member of the House. I expect better from myself. And my colleagues on all sides of the aisle certainly expect better from me. I accept full responsibility for my poor choices last night. And I asked Canadians, that's those little fictional people, full understanding and forgiveness. He referenced the Procedure and House Affairs Committee upcoming review of his actions, suggesting he would cooperate with it. Unimpressed, Ambrose told him, I don't know how we can do this unless he removes this motion. As he listened to MP after MP scold him, bad Trudeau, bad little muppet, bad little puppet, Trudeau appeared to confer with his House leader, Dominic LeBlanc, a longtime friend. Conservative MP Peter Kent reminded the Commons that Trudeau had to apologize in December 2011 for swearing at him in the House, calling him a lying piece of shit. Well, Peter Kent is a lying piece of shit. But then again, so is Trudeau, and so did everybody else in the House. So I don't know how that would be unbecoming. You know, I'm in the truth business. And the truth is, Peter Kent is a lying piece of shit. So I don't know what the problem with that was. House decorum, maybe? Because the House is nothing but a ball of lies. Kent said Trudeau's spontaneous, impetuous crossing of the floor last night, touching a fellow colleague, touched him. Ooh. But then Trudeau's a feminist. And he likes to hang out at gay pride parades. And he really pushed the transgender bathroom. So I can see where Trudeau touching someone might be ew, if I can say that word. Ew, I was touched by Trudeau. Yuck. What the hell am I going to catch? Who knows? And pushing and issuing profane comments is not only a breach of our privilege, but it is contempt of Parliament. Parliament is contempt of the people, is what Parliament is. He suggested Trudeau needs anger management training. Now, this I like because we had Jack McLaren, who's MPP, conservative, and the Liberals are in power in Ontario, and he said a couple things in that house that irritated some woman, and McLaren had to go to anger management classes or something. And this, again, is all part and parcel of the deal where everybody's going to end up going to anger management classes. If I'm the leader of a country and some dickweed suggests that I take anger management classes and I submit to this, then I best just resign immediately, okay? Because I've just proven I'm not a leader, okay? But that doesn't want to happen here. It ain't going to happen anywhere else. Afterwards, NDP MP Linda Duncan said Trudeau's apology was obviously heartfelt but wasn't enough. She said he apologized for his physical assault, but he's not apologized for the assault on our rights and privileges in the House. However, many Liberals defended Trudeau, calling his apology heartfelt, including Cabinet Ministers Melanie Joly, Chrystia Freeland, Liberal Whip Andrew Leslie, and Treasury Board President Scott Bryson, the government's key minister on federal workplace policies. Bryson declined to say what would happen if a federal government employee had behaved as Trudeau did, saying the House of Commons is a unique workplace responsible for setting its own policies and penalties for bad behavior. He noted the apology was unreserved, so it's not an apology with reservations. But he wondered what a federal government employee had behaved as Trudeau did. Well, they're all employees of the Queen, who is the head of state. Okay, so they're all employees of the Queen. And these guys run this particular corporation called Canada. Health Minister, looks like everybody weighed in on this crap. Health Minister Jane Philpott stressed the need for respect in the Commons and said she welcomed discussion on the tone in Parliament, but also urged MPs to recognize the government needs to meet a June 6th deadline to enact a law on assisted suicide. Big rush on this one. She asked when it would be appropriate to move on to that debate. But opposition MPs were having none of it. Conservative Kelly Leitch called Trudeau's behavior bullying. Ooh, we know what bullying gets us, right? Now, if I had broken all of these rules and done all of it that was supposedly happened here, I would be going to court. I've bullied. I've assaulted. I've done all kinds of things here that would put me in court, lickety freaking split. But hey, he's the premier Muppet puppet. But let's see here. Okay, it's called Trudeau's behavior bullying and asked the health minister how she'd view it if it happened in a medical clinic she worked in. Well, if it happened anywhere, you're going to get swatted. Former Conservative Stockwell Day, there's another global puppet. They're all global puppets. Said Trudeau attended the MP's prayer breakfast and asked to read scripture from Romans 12, a text he said speaks of how people should treat others with respect, kindness, and sensitivity. He said the Prime Minister was subdued, as was the general mood there. Day said he was shocked by Trudeau's obvious and complete lapse in judgment. He called it surreal to see Trudeau's temper on display on television, both disturbing and kind of, embarrassing. We all know what it's like to lose our temper, but I just have never seen anything like that. And I was in provincial legislature for 14 years. Yep, 14 years of Stockwell days screwing the people over. I was in the federal parliament for 11 years of screwing the people over. I have just never seen a prime minister doing that. And I don't know that I've ever seen a member of a party grab another member. Well, he's a feminist, Stockwell. He's a feminist. Day said he sits on several corporate boards. Of course he does, because he was in government. Why does he sit on corporate boards? Because when he was in Parliament, they cut deals with other corporations in order to benefit them. And when you leave government, you end up on those corporate boards. See how it works, boys and girls? And if a CEO ever did what Trudeau did, there would be severe consequences ranging from being sent home, bad CEO, bad CEO, you have to go home, or to sensitivity training up to losing one's job. Several MPs en route into the Commons Thursday were still aghast at what had happened, saying it showed poor judgment and poor anger control. Conservative MP Tony, I'm up Israel's ass, Clement, said Trudeau should never have been across the aisle before the vote. He's not the referee, said Clement. Clement said it's ridiculous for someone on Twitter dismissed the knock to. It's ridiculous that someone on Twitter dismissed the knock to Borosel, that's the woman, saying she'd get worse at a rock concert and or a hockey game. But Stockwell Day goes on to say that the House of Commons is not a rock concert, he said. Well, no, the rock concert, you pay, you go there, you know you're going there to be entertained. Parliament, here on the other hand, we pay, and we think that they're representing us when, in fact, it's just an entertainment show. It's not even an entertainment show. It's complete and total fraud, breach of trust, and treason against the people of these lands. GMO salmon is coming soon to a grocery store near you. Great idea. Company's been fighting since 1995 to get approval for controversial first fast-growing fish. Excellent. Excellent. So that corporation got done what they wanted to get done. Okay, they've been hacking at it since 1995, but they finally got approval for growing sick fish. Coming to a restaurant near you, the world's first genetically modified salmon destined for the dinner table has been approved for sale in Canada. And if operations get off the ground quickly, the Aqua Bounty Aqua Advantage salmon could be on grocery shelves as early as this year, says company CEO Ron Stodish. We're thrilled, Stodish and Aqua Bounty Technologies told the Star in an interview. We're very pleased indeed and grateful. Doesn't tell us how much money they had to put into the coffers of the politicians in order to get this passed. But as normal, Health Canada announced Thursday that the AAS, a fish genetically modified to grow fast, is as safe and nutritious for humans and livestock. Well, a human is a color of, which is an animal which derived from the great ape, and livestock. So safe and nutritious for animals is what it's saying. As conventional salmon, and now can be sold in this country. The Canadian invented creature, ooh, that sounds tasty, doesn't it? What are we having for dinner tonight, dear? Well, we're having some Canadian invented creature for supper tonight, dear. Doesn't that sound tasty to you? Yes, indeedy. Health Canada says that it's okay for humans and livestock to eat. And we know we're humans, right, dear? Grunt, grunt, gorilla, gorilla. This is so freaking bizarro world at this point in time. It's difficult to even hardly deal with this nonsense. The Canadian invented creature can be sold to commercial fish farms as eggs to be grown in land-based facilities, but it can also go straight to the fishmonger, restaurant, and eater. Since it poses no health and safety risks, it will not need to bear any special labels so that you won't know that you're having Canadian invented creature for supper. What are we having for supper, dear? Salmon. Are you sure it's not Canadian invented creature? Well, I can't tell you because it's so safe, it doesn't need to be labeled. Doesn't need to bear any special labels, a Health Canada spokesman told media in a teleconference Thursday afternoon. Canadian blessings for this controversial creature come 6 months after American regulators gave this transgenic fish their stamp of approval to be sold south of the border. AquaBounty, a small Boston-based company, has been fighting to get its product approved for consumption and sale in the mainstream market in the United States and Canada since 1995. Okay? And what did this goes on here. Okay, let's carry on here for a bit. It says here it's been an upstream battle. Not uphill, upstream. Ha, ha, ha. Ever since it was invented in 1982. That's when a group of Canadian scientists, and you know what I think of scientists, began collaborating and eventually endowed the genome of an Atlantic salmon with a growth hormone gene from a Chinook salmon, making a creature, not a fish. They don't call it a fish. Nowhere have I seen them call it a fish yet. It's a creature. Whoops, watch my language now. It's a creature that grows faster and reaches market size faster. The fish has since become a lightning rod for activism against genetically modified organisms, and its path to approval has been long, hard-fought, and obstructed by politicians and bureaucracy. An ongoing lawsuit launched by Canadian activists and widespread criticism. Is that going to stop the corporation, all of this stuff? No. We'll just keep greasing palms till we find the right guys, and then we're going to get our approval for it, and then we will have the market on swimming creatures that grow fast, that need no special labeling. Greenpeace once landed a chopper on the roof of AquaBounty's Prince Edward County hatchery in protest. Well, Greenpeace is another crock of shit. Oh, there goes my language, sorry. I have about as much use for Greenpeace as I do for scientists. Garth Fletcher, 79, the scientist who spearheaded creation of the fish, they call it a fish here, told the Star in late November that he didn't believe it would be approved for consumption in his lifetime. It's out there now, he said at the time. It's like having a child born and seeing it as an adult. Calling Thursday's news a huge milestone, Story lauded Canadian regulators for a thorough, rigorous, and outstanding review of his fish. He said his company will work to get the fish in the Canadian market, but it will still take time to coordinate the shipping of this food between the company's PEI hatchery and its facility in Panama. Of course, the fish will also still have to mature to eating size. Even our fish take a little bit of time to grow, but they grow fast. And that's that. So we're going to have a creature. That's pretty cool. A swimming creature. That just sounds so sad, eh? The Canadian invented creature. We're having creatures for supper. And yum, yum. Let's go all eat us a creature that doesn't need any labeling. Wow. Amazing. Anyways, where do we go from here? Let me see. I should maybe. Let me see here. Isn't it pathetic, that we've come to this point in time that all of this crap's going on? We're being inundated with migrants, immigrants, whatever you want to call them. Now they're pushing in our federal parliament to open the gates to the Mexicans. So they don't even need visas. So, Americans might as well let them in because they're coming to Canada. Right? That's where they're coming to. And that's all got to do with that interstate highway they're building. Yeah, Christopher.
Hi, Chris from Canada.
I knew that.
How did you know? Oh, yeah, because you said my name first.
I'll talk to you as long as you can prove to me, and I want to see the label that you're not some genetically modified creature on the other end of this line.
Well, I think what the government meant by creature was create. Sure.
Well, for sure.
For sure, create. Sure.
Yeah, like
so they're just creating,
like cis,
for sure,
yeah. like system, right?
yeah.
You're going to put
the
creature into the system, and we'll gobble it up, right? Because we won't know
pretty
what
much
the
what
hell
I get from it.
Yeah.
I love your talk on this GMO stuff. That really scares me. I was actually having a conversation with my son about that, and then I had somebody knock on my door. Believe it or not, as your show was starting, and my son answered because I was listening to the show and I was in chat a little bit, and they were wanting to give us 20 minutes of our time to explain how solar panels worked.
Really?
And I had to jump up out of my chair and run out and ask him why he was selling solar panels. And he said, well, they're energy efficient. They save you money in the long run. They're eco-friendly. And I went, they're eco-friendly? I said, do you know what you're selling? I said, do you know what it's made from? Do you know anything about the product that you're talking about? And he slowly walked back to the sidewalk and then started going the other direction. And my son got mad at me. He said, Dad, he's just trying to make a living. And I said, well, can you throw some morals in with that, or
exactly.
like understand what you're selling. If it's going to harm people, is it really worth making the money? Maybe short term, I guess.
But
I said no. This is wrong. And I said I want to educate these people that even the ones selling it, they don't even know what they're selling.
Of course, they don't know what they're selling, right? Because most people wouldn't sell what they sell if they knew what they were selling. And that's the useful idiot syndrome, right?
Yep.
We're hiring.
What I try to do is educate.
Hiring, I need a job, and I'm going down there to get me a job. Oh, hot damn, I got hired. And here's my spiel that they gave me, and I go and knock on people's doors and tell them what they told me to tell you. And I do that to people too, because when you ask them if they ever even understand what it is they're selling, they don't have a clue.
Well, they tell you the benefits.
Well, yeah, but they don't know anything about what it is they're selling. I mean, they don't look into the background of it, right? And so... No, I know. You go to this class, it's a 2-hour class, and they get a bunch of people in a room that they got a salesman, and they say, okay... And they give you all the positives on how to sell this product. Right.
but nobody has a clue what the product is, what the long-term problems could be, what the short-term problems are, where it comes from, how it's made, data, nothing. Just here's how you sell it.
Yeah, sell the benefits, leave everything else alone. You
Yeah,
know, when I was building houses, they had what they call that? It's the insurance. You know, like if your foundation cracks, or what the hell was that insurance program they were selling everywhere, pumping the hell out of it. It's a government insurance program. Anyways, I had several couples come into the office and they said, "Do you offer the homeowners insurance program?" Whatever, I think that's what it was called, something like that. And I go, "No, I don't. I can get it for you. It's going to cost $1,500. Well, they said, we really need this in case there's problems, right? Well, let me explain it to you then. You want to give me $1,500, I'll sign you up to it, but it's $1,500 out of your pocket. And if you need this insurance program before you hire me to build your house, then you probably don't want me to build your house in the first place because you have no faith in my ability to build your house, or you won't worry about it." But I said, it's like every other warranty guarantee in great huge letters screaming across you in the newspapers and the TV. It gives you all the benefits of you giving the government $1,500. But now let's go down and look at the fine print on this thing. And my customers would go, "This is a scam." Bingo. And you know how much money they've collected over the years through this thing? Millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. And it's the same thing with your solar panel or anything else, right? Unless you actually sit down and look this thing through, and if you only go with the benefits, which we've been conditioned, I think, to don't look at anything, just look at the benefits, right? That's how we got turned into these fictional corporate entities when they told our mothers that if you sign here, your child will get benefits that it otherwise won't have. Oh, benefits. I mean, we're triggered for benefits, right?
Well, especially when your mom's a waitress working part-time, and the government comes in and says, we'll give you something called mother's allowance. Mm-hmm. And that's what it was back in the day. So you'd make $800 a month on mother's allowance in the 70s for a child. Yeah. And you'd make $100 a week waitressing. Yeah. So of course you're going to sign up.
Yeah, but they didn't. It's just like the clauses in what I was talking about. The ones that got you to sign on the idea of benefits didn't explain the downside to you.
No.
That you've just sold your child into slavery for a few little benefits, right?
Well, we're all paying for it now. I know I am.
And me too.
From the mother's allowance fiasco. But now they give you child tax credits and this and that, and
that's just when everything starts to boil up against them. They bring out some new benefits, right? Mm-hmm. You know, people are getting uppity around here. Give them some new benefits. That'll shut them up for a while. So how you doing, anyways?
Well, we're doing. There was this thing you were talking about on your Tuesday show. I had to listen to the archives. It wasn't available to listen live. And you were talking about this move towards everybody going electric. Okay, they want electricity in every house now, so you can get solar panels and electric cars and all that, right? Do you remember back when they pushed everybody off electricity into gas? Do you not remember that? It was like in it was in the 90s.
Well,
the government was giving subsidies for people to convert from electricity to gas, and everybody jumped on board. I was one of them, and still spent $5,000 out of pocket to convert and put gas in the house and get off electricity. Everybody has to get off electricity. We all have to have gas. Now, what are they doing? Now everybody's on gas. They say, everybody's got to go to electricity. We can't have gas anymore. Gas bad. It's badass is what I was going to say.
It's all manipulation, right? I mean, our electricity market.
But if you think about that, right on the surface, You just told us to convert to from electricity to gas, and now you're flipping it on his head. The government told us to do this, and we did it, and now they're saying, well, wait, no, now you're going to electricity. We want everybody on electricity now. And we want your cars all electric, and then we want plug-in. All new homes get plug-ins for electric cars, but you just told me to get on gas.
Well, we're running out of gas, and gas is a bad pollutant, and we've got all this extra energy flying around here that we don't know what to do with, and so we need you to plug in your car so that we can use some of this stuff, which you're going to pay for, of course. So it's all a convoluted fraud, as it always is. But I remember it was in the early 80s, I think it was, when I came back from out west, and I was they had a big insulation program going on, and you could re-insulate your attic for like $50 out of pocket, right? And the taxpayer would pick up the rest of it. And they were adding, I was in Kitchener, I was working, they were doing that there too. They were pushing gas like a bitch, right? And they were given, just like you said, subsidies at that time to get off of oil and electricity. So people were pitching out electric furnaces like it was going out of style, right, to get hooked up for gas. And it'd be the same
oil
thing.
Oil furnaces?
Yeah, it'd be the same thing. And I said, you people ought to be careful here, because somewhere down the road you're going to get hosed on this. Because
here it is.
Yeah, and I don't know how they... I mean, Glenn Murray, our... bow tie wearing gay environment climate change minister, was it Globe and Mail, I think it was, said they got the documents, and then Murray's saying, well, that's not what he said. Well, it says it in the documents, so I don't know what Murray's thinking, but no, they want us they're taking all choices away from people, right? You will do it this way or no way. And if you don't do it this way, we'll give you a fine. So, my concern on that is the wood stoves, because if they're going to try and get rid of
but they've been, from what I understand, because I don't have one. I used to love them when I was around them. But they have already set a lot of regulations in place, and if you have a house with a wood stove in it, first you've got to be approved. Now, if they have them already existing, your insurance company jumps in and says, "Well, you got a wood stove. Well, that's that could cause a fire. So therefore, instead of paying $1,200 a year for your insurance, you're going to have to pay $3,800 a year for your insurance."
Right.
But you have to have the insurance because the government mandates that you must have it.
Yeah, and then because this is all inside jobs all the time, right? So we want to get these people out of their wood stoves. So you, the insurance company, you raise your rates on wood stoves to the point where any benefit people may have had from a wood stove is gone, and therefore it's easier for them to get rid of the wood stove, right?
Yep.
It's all a total scam.
And keep us all cold and dark.
That's right. And I don't care how many solar panels or windmills you put in, they are so inconsistent. It's pathetic. I saw a thing that I forget what place that was, somewhere over in Europe. I don't know, it was Portugal, some city or something over there. But they're all excited. 4 days straight, they managed to power this town or something with only renewable energy. Well, that's good. Problem is, there's 365 days in a year. So you managed to power this place for 4 days. And that's it. So, we can go for long stretches here in this province with no wind and no sun. But they want to put everybody in a position that they can basically cause them harm, manipulate them, whatever. So I was talking to, you don't know him, I don't think, Krusty up around Algonquin Park there. He's one of the guys that we finally got into council, and he ran in the last election, actually got voted in this time. And I was talking to him yesterday about this, what's this nonsense about gas, right? And he said, yeah, what the hell's going on? Because we just signed a contract up here to try to lessen our cost because they're shutting down our wood stoves, right? And giving everybody a hard time. And so we cut a deal, I forget who with, to bring up some tanks, like I guess liquefied natural gas tanks. And instead of trying to run, gas lines 500 miles or something, they're just going to put in the tanks and then pipe up the town and run it off of that. He said, we just signed a contract for this, and now they throw this stuff in our face that we're not going to be able to use natural gas, right? But he was going,
cha-ching.
This is why I keep telling people to run for local politics, right? Krusty didn't want to run, and that's his nickname. Carl's his real name, but Krusty's his game. And so none of us got in when we ran in 2010. They managed to run out a CAO and a council that's an open seat. So 2 years after the election, he finally got in, and then he did run again and got in this one. And I was talking to him yesterday, and nobody ever goes to council meetings. You go to council meetings, nobody there. Nobody pays any attention to what's going on right in front of their frickin' faces, and that's why we're getting hammered the way we are. But I was talking to him yesterday. He says, I'm working on this stuff here. I got to go to a meeting tonight. Now, their town hall meetings are on Tuesday night. I'm talking to Wednesday morning. I'm going, what are you talking about? He says, it's getting ugly up here. Okay, we're going to do a presentation tonight, and we're expecting 500 people. And they got very small little places up there, right? And their little municipality, tiny little towns, and then like the town he lives in, like 200 people. So they're going to have 500 people. They had to move it to the arena. And he said, people are getting real ugly here. Then I asked him a question. I says, like, if you weren't in council, none of this would be going on. He said, hell no. I'm the guy stirring the shit up here because I know the game. And by being in the council all the time, I'm in the paper all the time, and the people are going, Jesus, here's somebody that's actually paying attention. Here's somebody that's actually trying to tell us what's going on. And now he's expecting a scrap up there tonight, or last night. I haven't talked to him since, but he said it's getting ugly. Now, they also have the different sectors that are trying to get him out of there. They don't want him around because he caused too much trouble, right? Because every time they open their mouth about sustainability or this or that, he just shoves it right back down their throats. And, and that makes it available to the people. Most people just think, well, there's no point going to council because they don't listen to us anyways. Well, no, but if you ran and got in there and the people saw somebody in there actually explaining what's going on and raising hell in the council, then that would alert the people, and the people would start to pay attention to it. So what's gone up where Krusty lives up by Algonquin Park, up in Bracebridge, Barry's Bay area, is a perfect example of why people should be running for the local councils, right? Because the average person doesn't pay attention. And when you got somebody that's rattling the cage the way he's rattling, they ain't got a choice but pay attention, and he's in the paper every week. So that gets people going, what the hell's going on around here,
Yeah, but Ron, I'm going to tell you, like here, from my experience in my hometown, there has been some very intelligent people trying to give some very intelligent messages to the people around them. They get discarded really quick because the education system has done such a good job of dumbing people down, and I hate to use that as but it is true. People don't understand. When you say something that makes sense to them, they've been told so long and been through the education system of this lie that when you try to speak some truth to them, and you're trying to do it on a scope of getting elected, you get stones thrown at you.
Well,
And
not
I've
so
seen
much
that
anymore.
personally with
No.
people that have tried.
Yeah, not so
And
much
it's
anymore.
really, really sad.
No. When I ran in 2010, I couldn't bring up any subject of any importance. They couldn't.
That's right. It's too
Yeah.
too much to handle.
Okay, right. Well, I wasn't pushing much of that stuff, right? I was being quite careful with them. I was just gauging where we could go with it. I know when to pull out of a conversation. So when Sheila ran in 2014, and I went and knocked doors with her, the difference in the people in those 4 years was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. People were bringing up Agenda 21. People were bitching about their water bills. People were asking questions about their hydro bills. They weren't doing that in 2010. Okay, and it's going to be a lot worse in 2018, which is just around the corner. The people are being shoved against the wall so hard now. They're looking for answers. They got questions now that they didn't have before. They've got some serious questions, and we need some serious people to say, okay, we were beat down, discouraged, nobody wanted to hear us. See, this is the problem with the mind, right? Oh, I did that a few years ago and it didn't go well. And their mind's stuck back there. They didn't bring their mind forward. It's still stuck back there with the experience they had then. That's what they're still stuck on. Not realize it's the same thing as Krusty. You know, when I was pushing for them guys to run, he said he'd run 20 years before. And he wasn't running again. Period. Well, I talked him into it finally. Actually, I pissed him off to get him to run, but he did run. And he went from, I'm 65 years old, I'm just going to sit on my deck and wait for my dirt nap. You talk to that man now, he's like a 24-year-old man with a fire under him, right? He doesn't even the same. He's not some beaten down old
The man I would like to meet.
Well, I'll get him back on the show. Maybe I'll cut him on the show Sunday or something because, you know, he's an inspiration because he didn't want nothing to do with it. Now he's in it. He knows he's got the duty, and he's pushing.
Well, you get tired, eh? You know, you get tired. You talk, and you try to tell people, and nobody listens, and then you just get tired.
He would
know,
be a good teacher for people that might consider running in the upcoming elections. Maybe that's what we need to do: is get him on the show a few times and let him explain his experience. They did everything.
They're motivating.
Not to let him in there. I mean, they did everything in their power.
Problem is, those you can't even trust the elections now, and this is where it's going. This is why people are so. You know,
well, that's why he didn't get in 2010, and that's why I didn't get in 2010. The other people I talked to didn't get in 2010.
You don't know.
Want to be allowed in there, and we weren't allowed in there. Everywhere we ran, there was vote count problems, right? That went on for hours. So no, the vote, it's crooked as, I mean, look at the government. What's the government? The government's a bunch of liars. They're crooked. So why would they let honest people in? You know, there's nothing more nerve-wracking to the state than an honest man.
That's right.
Because truth is the enemy.
Well, you know, you mentioned Krusty, and I believe like this, maybe a couple of years ago I was on your show.
Yeah.
And I mentioned we used to have a guy that would come in as Krusty the Clown.
Well, what Krusty did was when he finally got in there, he went 3 months just to check everything out, make friends with the staff, and then he said he walked in 3 months after he was in. He said he walked into the council after 3 months and said, "Carl has left the building. Meet Krusty." And
okay, yeah. So it's the same idea. Yeah, we had that here. He called himself Krusty the Clown. It was Carl Walker.
Yeah.
And he went for federal. He was federal elections, provincial, and municipal here. And he ended up calling himself Krusty the Clown. Sorry, your show's over. Shit.
See that? I want to thank you for calling. And I So anyways, that's the